with UFC 299 O'Malley versus Vera 2. Banger card in Miami, Florida. Stacked. But before the pre-fight analysis, I just want to start off by shouting out Diego Lopez and Pantoja, the flyweight champ. They both have interacted some way with me, with uh, with Pantoja liking my story. It was when the three Brazilians, Alex, Pantoja, Charles was at UFC Mexico, and he liked my post. Shout out to him. Second of all, to Diego Lopez, I'm always gonna comment on his stuff, and he's always liking my comments. So shout out to Diego Lopez. So let's get straight to the first fight. I handpicked some fights from the prelims, and I'm gonna start off with the Gamerat versus Rafael dos Anjos. So let's start off with this fight here. If looking at it, Gamerat is 4-1 in his last five, 5'10", 33. He's younger, he's more active. I do feel bad for Gamerat because he was the backup versus Islam versus Charles. Then he got screwed over, and Volk took his place. So kind of feel bad for him. Now he's fighting someone who just fought at welterweight. Yeah, I do kind of feel bad for him. But Gamerat is coming off of a fake win against Fiziev. He got injured, and nothing that he can do about that wasn't his fault. And for RDA, he's coming off a brutal beating against Vincent Alike. So, due to RDA bouncing back and forth between lightweight and welterweight, and due to the UFC doing Gamerat pretty dirty, I feel like Gamerat has a little chip on his shoulder, and I'll take Gamerat. Will get the job done via decision. I think it'll just be 30-27. I want to say it's going to be pretty obvious, but let's do 30-27 from at least two judges for Gamerat. Curtis Blades versus Gelton Almeida. If we're just looking at the stats right here, Gelton Almeida is on a 5-fight win streak. They're around the same age. They are, let's see what their heights at. Around the same height, around the same reach. So if we're gonna dig a little bit deeper, Blade's coming off a pretty, not brutal, but pretty good knockout loss to Sergey Pavlovich, which did that loss age well? I don't know. You tell me. But his last win before that came off a Tom Aspinall injury, which that win I don't count that either. Then his last one was against Chris Dawkins. I don't know who that is, and that was over almost 2 years ago. Blades can definitely knock him out, definitely, but it's definitely near even for a reason. Blades is definitely a lot heavier, but I'm gonna go with Gelton Almeida via decision. Pretty boring again, honestly, like how his last fight was against Derek Lewis. But instead of 5 rounds, he'll do for 3 rounds this time. So give me Gelton Almeida via decision. This Song Yudong, or Yudong Song. Alright, what? Okay. Obviously, Jan's going off a 3-fight losing streak. It's getting pretty sad, but also he's fought pretty good people. He fought Sterling. He fought Sean O'Malley, which, let's be honest, O'Malley did not win that. And he just came off a loss against Merab, which Merab was really good, I'll tell you that. But those are three probably champions right there. At least 2 champions. And Merab's definitely a future champion. So if you're looking at Song, he's 2-1 in his last 3. KO lost to Corey. Then he beat Ricky Simone via knockout. And then he beat Chris Gertez via decision. Yep. So, both on the same height. Song is quite a lot younger. The reach is the exact same. If I'm gonna dig down a little bit deeper, I feel like they have about the same wrestling, uh, but I feel like Song will able to beat out Yan in the boxing aspect. I just feel like I don't know. It's hard to see Yan lose four in a row, but Song is a really hard fight. Young up and comer. I'm gonna take 29-28, Song Yudong plus 120. A dog right there for you. Gilbert Burns versus JDM. I mean, if we're gonna look back at Burns coming off a pretty bad injury against Bilal, he tore his shoulder. I believe he's been out since when? Uh, just about 10 months now. And with JDM just going off a split against Kevin Holland, which that fight was a toss up, honestly. Is JDM undefeated in the UFC? He might be. He might be. Height around the same. Reach. JDM has a 3-inch reach advantage. Obviously, 10-year age difference, but I know Burns is getting up there in age, and obviously he's coming. He's fighting a young up and comer. He's hungry, but I just don't think it's time yet for Burns. He has recovered a good amount from his injury. I just feel like his jiu-jitsu, his boxing, his hunger. I just don't think it's time yet for Burns. And as long as what we know, Burns is not hurt. He's recovered. He's all good. Obviously, no one's healthy going into a fight, but nothing being hurt from his last fight and carrying over to this fight. I do think Burns will be able to show his level against JDM, a young up and comer fighter. I'm not saying he's bad or anything, but I think Burns will be able to stop JDM, and I think Burns will show JDM is that there are levels to this game. All right, Burns is not ranked number 4. I think he's ranked 4 or 3 welterweight in the world, and I think he will show why Saturday night in Miami versus Michael Venom Page MVP coming from Bellator. Yes, from Bellator. So if we look at the fight, their styles are about the same. I mean, I am a true believer of styles make fights, and their styles are about the same on the striking aspect. But Kevin Holland is a black belt, I do believe, in BJJ, so obviously he does have the quite advantage in that area. But if you're just looking at the numbers here, both 6'3", with Kevin Holland having a 3-inch reach advantage. We got Kevin Holland at a minus 130. Holland's coming off a loss against JDM, which is pretty funny how he lost to JDM, but above him in the fight card. So that proves how much the UFC cares about this fight against Holland versus MVP. So if we're looking at MVP, obviously I don't know too much about Bellator, but I do know that when I was listening to the Usman and Triple C podcast, Usman was impressed knowing that MVP did avenge his loss against Douglas Lima. So I don't know who that is, but that sounds pretty important. So I do give my props to MVP for that. See, I am contradicting myself here. MVP hasn't fought in a year, and I'm always a younger and active fighter. I'm always choosing that. But I am contradicting myself. As long as the UFC Miami crowd doesn't change MVP's mentality, because obviously the crowd is going to be a lot different than a Bellator crowd, especially in Miami. I know that is going to affect him a little bit, at least, the nerves with the MVP's first debut in UFC. But as long as it doesn't affect him a lot, I do believe that MVP being more experienced, don't look at how much fights they have in the UFC, but with MVP being more wise, I know he's 36, probably 37. I know it's a cursed age, but it's not for a belt. All right, old people can still win fights. I just think Kevin Holland. I think he has to fight smart, which I don't think he can fight smart. I think Kevin Holland would be able to dominate MVP on the ground, but I just don't think Kevin Holland is going to do that. I think he's just want to strike with him. I know he posts that thing on IG, but I just don't believe it with him swinging back and forth with understanding. I I think MVP will be able to beat Kevin Holland with the striking. We might see a knockout. We might. What do people believe? They think it'll be a decision. We might see like a scary knockout. Someone will probably get tagged. Someone probably will get tagged. I'm gonna go MVP via knockout. I think he's gonna make a statement in his UFC debut. I do like Kevin Holland, but give me MVP plus 110 underdog. Dustin the Diamond Poirier versus Buena. Let's call him BSD. We call him BSD. Poirier versus BSD. Obviously, Poirier coming off a brutal loss, head kick against Justin Gaethje. How long was that? That was about 8 months ago, 7 months ago. Obviously, Poirier did have a nice finish against Chandler. I mean, if we just look at the stats here, there's a 7-year age difference, uh, with a two inch height advantage for a BSD. Same reach. BSD just had a nice head kick knockout against Matt Favola, which is this is a big increase. He's what, ranked 13, 12, versus Dustin Poirier, who's ranked 5. So big increase, which we need to look at the fact that this is a 5-round fight. I looked on DraftKings and they do not think this is going the distance. They think that there's going to be a finish, which I do agree with that. I will acknowledge that BSD is a warrior. I think someday he will be a future champion, but I'm going to say this: 155 is not ready for the change quite yet in this fight. I don't think Poirier. I did reject this fight due to money. Obviously, this is a risky fight for him, but he knows that this will define his legacy. If he can put a stop to these young up and comers, I think Poirier, this is a big test for him. He's fighting a true warrior, but I just don't think it's time yet to welcome BSD in the top 5 lightweight. All right, I just don't. Poirier, he probably will get he will get touched. He will, but I think Poirier stops BSD knockout in the 3rd. Give me the diamond, baby. Come on. Here is our UFC 299 main event: Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera 2 in Miami, Florida. So if we're looking at Sean O'Malley's last fights, obviously he beat Aljamain Sterling in a fashion knockout in the 2nd round. He then also beat Peter Yan, split decision. Peter Yan should have won, but I'm not holding that against him. If you're looking at Chito Vera coming off of an alright win against Pedro Munez, and then he did lose pretty bad to Corey Sandhagen. I'd say that loss was by murder. Then obviously he had that courageous kick to the head to Dominic Cruz. If we're looking at the stats right here, 2 age difference. They're both pretty young, both in their primes, entering their primes. Sean O'Malley with a 3-inch height advantage, with O'Malley having a 1.5-inch reach advantage. They're both pretty lengthy. They're both pretty tall. If I'm going to be honest, I did my fight notes this past weekend, and I did have Marlon Chito Vera winning. I will give you the rundown that I had, but after recent news is what I heard. That's why I tried to wait on my fight predictions. But here's what I had prior to what I heard. So I both got long, strong legs. So I think that it was really slow first round. O'Malley will win the round, both feeling each other out, not much activity, sort of like the first round of the Sterling versus O'Malley fight. But I think O'Malley will be pressuring, finding his position with some teeth kicks, leg kicks, maybe head kicks. You're just feeling him out, just some nice kicks. I think O'Malley will win the round, so 1-0 O'Malley. In the 2nd round, O'Malley still in his rhythm, finding good volume. Chito still downloading. He's seeing what O'Malley's doing with his feints, with his kicks, his punches, trying to set up his traps. I think eventually Cheeto would find a takedown, and at the end of the round, Cheeto would find some momentum carrying over to the third round. So third round, I thought it'd be a war. Good connections from both fighters. I thought Cheeto would get dropped, but he gets stunned. But at the end of the round, Cheeto drops O'Malley. Saved. I think O'Malley would have gotten saved by the bell, just like how Rob Whitaker was saved by the bell against Paulo Costa. And I thought in the fourth round, O'Malley, he's getting tired. Never been in a 5-round fight. He's never been in a fight longer than 3 rounds. So I think in the championship rounds, championship experience would show. I think O'Malley would get hurt possibly from being laid on or getting touched in the face and the ribs and the liver. And Cheeto gets the job done via fourth round submission. So this is how I thought the fight was going to play out prior to the news that I heard last night on Aljamain Sterling's podcast. I was listening to it, and he's saying that he heard that Cheeto Vera has been having a bad camp, which I just can't pick a fighter going to win after hearing that he had a bad camp. Look at Henry Cejudo last fight against Marab. I mean, he got mauled. He got destroyed, and he had a bad camp. Especially, I can't take a plus 200 underdog hearing that he had a bad camp. So after changing that, scrapping all my pre-fight analysis notes, this is straight off the head. I heard this news last night. I'm gonna analyze the fight. So knowing that Cheeto Vera had a bad camp, I can imagine he won't be at his best. Maybe he'll get tired more, be less active. He already isn't that active. So now that I've heard that, which I assume it's true, obviously Cheeto Vera is a late starter. He's gonna download. I just feel like maybe he's gonna download too late. Maybe he's gonna start too late. Maybe it'll be like a Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards, where Colby didn't start fighting until the fifth round. Maybe Cheeto Vera won't start until the end of the third, start of the fourth, where it's just too late. He's just chasing a finish. Where I don't think O'Malley is gonna put himself in a spot where he's trapped against the corner. He will get submitted, which I think Cheeto Vera, like how I said before, it is a possibility that Cheeto Vera does submit Sean O'Malley. But I think if Sean O'Malley is up the first 2 rounds, his confidence is going to be sky high. I feel like he'll know that he's up 2 rounds. He won't do anything dangerous. I don't think this fight will be anything too exciting. I think O'Malley's just going to get the job done, get his first title defense. I'm going to say 4-1 O'Malley. I'll say definitely unanimous. I'll say 1-4-1 for O'Malley, 2-3-2 for 2-3-2 for O'Malley. Yes, I said that right before. And I think O'Malley will be very, very technical with his kicks. I know Cheeto Vera probably gonna go back to those leg kicks like to their first fight. But I think O'Malley will be ready due to his length, his teeth kicks, his setups, his traps. I just don't think we'll just be seeing too much excitement. I don't think Cheeto Vera is going to allow that, so he's going to have a very, very boring fight, which I think that's what Cheeto wants to do, trying to have Sugar Sean do too much. But I think Sugar knows this, and he's not going to try to do anything spectacular because he knows his next fight will be against Marab, not Ilya. So he doesn't have to do anything crazy to get the champ status fight. So I say pretty boring fight for O'Malley via decision, and still Sean O'Malley legs out.